Well, hello! Welcome to Drawing with Fire. I'm Valarie, your neighborhood pyrography artist. Join with hubby.
Okay.
And a couple of fur babies. Today, woof woof, we're going to focus more on getting more of the shadows into the white. I know that can be so overwhelming, but we are going to push through that. Alright, I think that should be good. We'll go for about, if nobody shows up, we'll go for about 15-20 minutes, and you can always watch this on your own time. Make sure everything looks good. If it's a little blurry, make sure to hit your settings and go for the 1440p by 60, and it should be nice and clear for you. Alright, so let's get going. I am actually going to work with the 18 medium. Haven't used that in quite a long time.
Why are you doing that?
Just because I can get a bigger area quicker.
Okay.
And we are going to work on the shadows and separating some of the white mane. I think we're going to also work on darkening the ear, just like we did in the members live last week. I am going to bump down to 3. Make sure your pen's clean if you haven't cleaned it in a while. I highly recommend you clean off your pen. It does alter how it burns if there's a bunch of carbon on it. And we are going to get going. I know this is like when everybody's starting to go back to school. So parents are really busy. And that's okay. They can watch when they're ready. So I'm just using the tip and I'm kind of rotating to the right side because right here I'm trying to get into the right side. And I need to start darkening up the darkest parts in the middle. And I intentionally left space in order for us to have some lighter versions of the hair within the ear. I'm going to go flat and move quickly. And right along the edge, we get white. We get a bit of halo because of it. But overall, even though this is a white ear, it is still... I'm going to do some erasing because I don't want to put this lighter burn on top of graphite if I can help it. So I'm going to remove it. Because with a lighter burn, if you go over graphite, it can burn slightly different. And it makes it harder to pull the graphite later when you're trying to clean off the board. Alrighty. There we go. And remember, because I'm on 3, it's going to burn a little hotter. But I'm doing this so I can get through it quicker. And a long time ago, we did some gouging along the edge to poke out the hair. So I'm going to take that into consideration. Just go right up against it, leaving that white outer layer of ear. Let's see here. Can you guys see it? Okay. I'm going to zoom in. Just because my hand is blocking.
Okay.
So I'm going to angle it a little bit. Get this all tinted in. Yeah. Now when I go darker on this hair, this outer edge will look lighter. It'll still read as white because the rest of the horse being white. There we go. And then of course the burning around it, the negative burning around the ear, will really shape it out. So I'm just trying to leave that white space. It'll read so much better later if I do it that way. And of course, over here, it's gray, or for the reference photo, it is purple. If you're hearing a dog pant, they just went for a run. And so he's still trying to cool off and calm down.
She gets super excited when she's out. She gets to smell everything.
Yep.
And she gets that energy out that she has. She's a puppy still. I mean, she's not a puppy, but she's a kid. So she's got a lot of energy.
She's a middle schooler now. Or an older elementary school. She's like a year and a half.
She's learning some things. So she's learning, like when I have her on the long lead, she's learning where the end of that lead is, and she's starting to stop before she runs out the end, which is nice.
Yeah.
That's a really important.
Not jerking you?
Yeah, I mean, she still is, but she's doing it less. Like, she remembers from time to time. And she's better about getting into her harness.
All right.
And she even pulled me a little bit when we were running, which is nice.
Here, Dad, I'll help. All right. Make sure you just go up on the edge and drag into the hair, just so we can keep some of that texture. Make sure I can see what I'm doing. Thin out so it's not so thick of a hair group, because right in here it's not. Let's see, this one goes up and down. But as I keep working it, it'll start looking like it's supposed to. So I need to darken back here while leaving some light, because this hair on the inside of the ear is going up and down. Just trying to get it put in there. I know this seems like it's taken forever. You know, on some level it has. I have unfortunately not been able to work on it for any consistent time frame. Or this would have been done a long time ago. But I really don't want to start a new project. I know that gets more views on YouTube, but it also is too many projects at once. And that can really get overwhelming. Because used to, before I had a YouTube channel, I would only work on one piece at a time. And that was less frustrating. Sometimes a little more boring, but less. It was also quite frustrating. Because you want to hurry up and see something done. But if you don't sit and work on it, it's not going to get done.
That's true. I deal with that every day. We both do.
We do.
And there's artists who are over ambitious.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got multiple things I want to work on.
And it's always rewarding when you get to the finish line and it's done, you know?
Yep.
But it is a lot of work. And I wish sometimes that it was a little faster, but honestly, that's part of the journey.
It is. I wish I was faster too, and I could be faster, but I get more focused on being accurate than faster.
Well,
and I'm happier with it when it's done. So I just need to stick to that.
it really comes back to what gives you joy,
Yep.
you know. And I think that you know, like as an artist, it doesn't matter how long something takes to create, if it's giving you joy on the journey, in the process. And that's the most important part, you know. And I think that a lot of times a finished piece of work, people look at it as, you know, art, which is it is, but it is the culmination of the journey, and that's why it's so important. Uh, that's why people connect to it, because they can feel that, can see it.
Go. So let's back out just a little bit. See how much darker. Yeah, that's coming together more. I actually can see more depth in the ear, more so than the camera's picking up.
Yep.
Alright, so under this white mane, we've got these shadows that we really need to keep because that's what lifts the hair off of the body. So I'm just picking areas at this point, leaving space. I know the light's coming from this direction, so I know most of the shadows are going to be bumped up to the right. But under the hair, we do have a bit more that we need to keep. And remember, there you'll see some areas where I like drag the knife through the hair.
Yeah.
And that's going to make it lighter. See, that kind of kept it separated right there. And then as we go, there are darker areas. Even though this is white, we need these darks.
That's just
Her paws. So let's get those in there. What I've really been holding myself back on the most is the body, and I need to just go and quit being so worried about screwing it up, which is, I think, partially why I haven't finished. Worried about messing it up.
I mean, when I get stalled on a piece, sometimes that's the issue, is that I've arrived at a particularly complex area that I'm not quite sure how to handle. And
Which is completely normal.
yeah, and I think other times, and so I have to stare at it and I have to let it sit, and like eventually it's almost like my subconscious is working on it in the background, you know.
And
then eventually, like, I'll realize what I need to do and do it. But there's other times when I get to a point and maybe the end result isn't clear in my mind's eye. And I think that that's a really important thing for artists, is that, I mean, if you're working from reference like you are, but you're also elaborating, you know, you're also interpreting it. And but I think regardless, even if you're working with a reference, that you kind of have to be able to see where you're going next, and you have to be able to sort of visualize what it is that you want in the end. And I think that if you can't do that, it's harder. And I know there's some people that can't do that, and some of our toasties are that way too. And I cannot imagine that, because that is not how my brain works.
yeah, just like they can't imagine.
Right.
Let's see here.
But I think that wherever you fall on that scale, I think it's still important to have some kind of clear idea of where you're going.
I'm going to switch over to the 18 small because I really need to darken up. Let's see here.
Because it's like if you break it down to the simplest terms, if somebody asked you to draw a letter, but you could not figure out which letter it was that you wanted to draw, you'd have a hard time because, you know, even though it's such a simple thing, you know, which one do you choose? And I realize that just sounds really simple or really odd, but that's what it boils down to, I think, is that you have to be able to see the letter and or have
However your brain works
have
with
it as a
that.
reference or however. But if you can't visualize that and you don't have a specific letter in mind, it's going to be very hard for you to do anything because you won't know where to start. And it's oversimplification, but I really feel like that's part of it.
So I am at just shy of 4 and I'm flat and I'm just quickly moving. That's why the burn is so light. Bringing it down.
So Husky is
Calm.
flat out, but she's still breathing hard.
All right. So in here, I really need more of a shadow because there's an indent of where the neck is versus where the mane sits on top, and that's what I'm trying to portray. I got a pretty good blob there, but yeah, I'm not going to stress about it because this horse is going to be full of blobs. So it's just not worth stressing.
I know.
I know that's easy for me to say, especially for some who are maybe newer to burning and are still unsure. But I promise you take that deep breath. You just start moving.
Yep.
And if you get an oops, it's not an oops as in you screwed up and you got to start over again. It's a oops, now I get to learn something new or practice something I've learned, but I'm still maybe a little uncomfortable with. And that's making choices to adjust how you want to adjust to, I don't want to say compensate, but I guess it kind of is compensate. Whether it's, do I take a knife and scratch it out? Do I use sandpaper?
You and I were talking about this recently about art and imperfection. And I think I've arrived at a point where I really understand that imperfections are part of the charm of art. Is that maybe you don't see the imperfections because you're not the artist, but you know it's not going to be exactly perfect, and I think that there's something very human about that. And when I look and I see generated images that are perfect, I mean, a lot of them aren't perfect
No, they're
at all,
not.
but but that's what they're striving for. They're striving for perfection in an illustrative image. And
No.
there's something to me deeply unpleasant about that. It's like can I take 30 seconds for a metaphor? Is that okay?
Go for it.
So when I was a kid, and I was really into science fiction, and in the late 70s, or well, just in the 70s and in the early 80s, a lot of science fiction depicted this world of the future that was like perfect, you know, like white everywhere, pristine surfaces. Everybody's wearing, white robes. Um, and it was just awful to me because it was just like, what is this? It looks really culty and it looks
Cold.
cold and impersonal, and I don't want to live there. But then things like Star Wars came along and they depicted a future that was kind of like dirty and lived in, and it was glorious. Because of its imperfections, I was able to relate to it and visualize it better, far better than I could that dystopian, sterile future. And I think coming back to art, that's similar. Is that you can strive for perfection in, like, say, proportions and scale and anatomy and so on and so forth. But if you don't have that human element where you're interpreting it and putting your own touch on it, it's a very unpleasant image to look at. Valarie could be doing this horse, and she could do it. I know she can, actually. She can do it photorealistic to the image. She has that capability. But what she's doing, and if she did that, I'm not sure that we would connect with it as much because of the way that she's doing it. Yeah, she's getting those proportions right, but the interpretation of the image is what's important and what brings that humanity in. Even the little mistakes or variations that aren't in the photo, all those things, where she might darken it more to provide more contrast, so that helps you see the viewer to see the structure of something. Like all those things that are interpretive, are part of what Valarie brings to work, and that was, to me, is what makes it attractive and endearing. Not that it's such a good depiction of the horses, which it is, but that it has her touch on it, in it. And then so, going back to talking about mistakes and things like that, like, yeah, you want to do your best, but if you happen to have a mistake or a variation and work it in, you can either hide it or alter it. All those things are what makes your work more appealing. And I think really that's kind of what Bob Ross was trying to get at about happy little accidents.
Yeah.
Is that the mistakes that you make, and at the end of the world, they actually add something to the work. And that's why he called them happy little accidents. Because,
well, not only adding to the work, though, it also adds to your learning.
yeah, it does. Absolutely. But I think that without those happy little accidents, I think that the work could become sterile and might not connect to it as much.
I'm just trying to darken the next shadow a little bit. And when I'm stopping, I'm looking at the same reference you guys are, because that's closer to the contrast I'm looking for.
I understand that. I will be right back.
Okay.
Probably.
Probably, because they're going to want to follow. Alright, let's erase some, because not only do we have shadow under the hair, we've got shadow in the hair. So I'm going to go along and erase just a little area, just so we can see how that goes. I know I'm going to be losing my group here, but I think I have enough information that I can go ahead and pull some of this graphite. And then I'm going to go ahead and bump my heat down to 3, below 3. There we go. Let's see if we've got enough. Yeah, I think we got enough graphite removed. And again, we have some areas where I've taken the knife and pulled out. Sorry, my pin cord got caught. And I'm just going to go flat. Drag down in the direction of the hair. But I'm going to leave a couple areas for sure that are lighter. Because remember, we still want them to read as white, although they have a burn. There's still some graphite there. It looks like I went over. So if you inadvertently go over some of your graphite and it doesn't erase, you may have to take the time to darken up a little bit to kind of blend it in. But I am trying to leave space for some lighter hair. Just because it's white does not mean we don't put any burning. Because then it just looks, well, one, your contrast will be off a little bit. But two, I forgot where I was going with that. Don't you hate when that happens? Real life moment. I was talking about contrast. And I can't remember where I wanted to go with that. So where I want to lift, I'm going to lift some of the hair group. I'm going to burn a little darker right next to it. And I know it's harder for you guys to see. I'll zoom in. And because I'm on my lower setting, I can also do some drag on my edge. It's going to be a little thicker because I can't get fully on my edge without moving my board, which, remember, it's easier to move your board than to stand on your head. For some of these, I don't feel like I need to overly worry about it. Yeah, see, I can see that. I'll move you guys closer. Oop. Oop, wrong pen. That pen ain't gonna do me any good. Off. Alright. Now I can use the tip of my pen and pull out create shape.
Got anybody yet?
No. I'm sure people are really busy right now.
Yeah, we're 30 minutes in.
Yeah. We're going to be ending this soon. Hopefully, I will have covered what you needed me to cover when you watch it in replay. And don't forget, if you're new, to please hit the subscribe button. We would love to have you. Next week is a members only live.
And John's going to do awesome stuff there, so better not miss out.
Well, we've been working on the brown horse. And I chose that because I figured more people would have a problem, or not a problem, but maybe feel more overwhelmed with the light horse. Because it can feel overwhelming. Let's see here. So I need to push this hair in more. So I'm flat, creating shadow on the actual hair. Let's see. Again, I see more of it in person than you guys do.
Super Sue Saxton has subscribed. Is that new?
I don't think that's new. I mean, I guess it could be.
I guess welcome Super Sue Saxton. They're not in chat. But...
Alrighty. So I still need to keep darkening. Let's see what we can see. Back it out. Remember, the light always looks different for you guys versus what I see. And no matter how much, wrong pen again. No matter how much I try to adjust that, it just doesn't seem to want to work with me. And I try every light to adjust it. I think we're going to wrap up for today. Got some things got to get done. Shit this eye. So if I get too stuck on working on one area, I do try to shift to a different area. And that helps a bit with my frustration of not being done yet.
Also, it helps you like shift your perspective a little bit because you're no longer focusing on one part, you're focusing on another part. And so after you've done that, you can go back to that other area when you're ready and you'll have a fresh point of view and might be able to see what you need to do better.
Yeah. All right. I'm getting hot. There is much more burning on this board than you guys can see.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
There's a ton.
Maybe that helps a little bit. Alrighty, so I asked the universe for 2 cards of what we needed to hear to focus on in order to be successful with our wood burning this week. And we got 2 cards. One is luck, and the other one is freedom. And I was like, wow. So the first card was freedom, and it says, I am free. Excuse me. Alrighty. I cherish my freedom to explore, to live fully and unencumbered, embracing each moment as an opportunity to discover and thrive. I mean, how much does that fit doing art and creating? And then luck. I am lucky. Let's see, make sure you guys can see. I create my luck by being prepared, recognizing that my readiness turns chance into a pathway for success when an opportunity arises. By aligning preparations with opportunity, I harness the power to shape my destiny through thoughtful action and strategic decision making. I mean, to me, both of these really fit wood burning or art in general, however you want to look at it. We got two moons. Let's see here. Those are fishes. Those are ravens. We got buildings in the background. We got clouds. We got several repeats telling us that this is the right path. Freedom to do your art. And the luck of being able to bring things together with your art, I think, are things to focus on this week to help you be successful. Alrighty. So next week is Member Live. Pop this back up so you can see what we've done. I'm trying to hold it 90 degrees so the camera isn't fighting with the light. There we go. So, you know what to say with me. Let me get down there. Let me get there. Say it with me. You're awesome. You can do this. Why? Because you're a pyro artist. Happy burning, guys.